Authorities say the reforms are built around fiscal equity, shielding low-income earners while asking more from the wealthy and profitable businesses. At the center of the reforms is a sharp expansion of tax exemptions for Nigeria's low-income earners and small businesses. While low-income earners are exempted from pay-as-you-earn tax, small companies with a gross turnover of $70,000 or less are not required to pay companies' income tax. In addition to that, companies' income tax has now been reduced to 25% from the previous 30%.
These reforms are designed to promote fiscal equity. What does that mean? If you are low-income earner, you are exempted from paying PAYE from January next year. That is 1/3 of our workers, both private and public sector combined. And do you know what the amount is? 100,000 naira or less. 1/3 of our people who are working cannot boast of 100,000 naira a month.
The reforms also address the perennial problem of multiple taxation, harmonizing about 70 taxes into a unified system to be administered by the renamed Nigeria Revenue Service. It also digitizes the collection process for better efficiency and transparency and introduces taxation for digital assets like cryptocurrencies while redefining Nigeria's middle class, offering relief to moderate earners while increasing contributions from the country's highest paid workers. A group officials say is very small.
A person who earns 3 million naira a month will see some marginal increases, maybe like 10K. It's not a lot of money per month. I know it's hard to even part with an additional 10K. If you earn 10 million naira per month, your additional tax would increase. It might get to 500K a month. If you earn 20 million naira and so on and so forth. But before you can even get to 25% of your income as tax, you must be earning at least 120 million naira a year.
But on the streets, opinions are divided over the new tax policy.
You want to come and tax people that are crying out, like people can even barely feed right now. People can barely feed like a 3 square meal. So what do you want to come and tax? If you put things in place and you're asking these people, okay, give back. If there are good roads, there are electricity, and you're tasking people, joyfully will pay. But you're putting tax reforms and people are suffering. Right now, I don't think I'm happy with the tax reform, but let's see where it goes.
This is the first time we see government performing positively. There's one thing we need to realize in Nigeria. If you don't use tax reform, you will continue borrowing money from overseas, continue borrowing money from IMF, and you continue be a borrower, you will not be a spender. The tax reform is very, very important and it's realistic.
Analysts warn that success will depend on how carefully the reforms are implemented, especially in Nigeria's vast informal economy, which accounts for the bulk of the country's workforce.
These tax laws are good. This is the ideal. This is what happens in the advanced economies. But when you want to replicate it here, you have to do it strategically, you have to do it cautiously, you have to do it in a way that you will not create any major pushback. Because the mere hearing of reform, tax reform alone, is already sending a lot of negative signals to people.
One must also acknowledge that every society that works everywhere in the world, taxes are the primary source of government revenue, and that governments need those revenues to deliver social service and to build infrastructure and to drive economic development.
But there are fears about cost. Economists say businesses newly brought into the tax net may pass additional cost on to consumers, at least in the short term.
That cuts across the table for medium-sized businesses that are currently getting away with not paying taxes, who will no longer be able to escape. You know, they will pay their taxes now, so they will have to recoup that cost from somewhere, and they pass it on to the consumer where it's possible.
At just around 13%, Nigeria has among the lowest tax-to-GDP ratio on the continent. The government is hoping to change the narrative with the new tax laws by simplifying compliance, widening the tax base, curb evasion, and boost revenue collection for development. Deji Bademasi, CGTN, Lagos, Nigeria.